Hello, I am Lee Bowden, content blogger for Loving Life with Lee, and co-owner and lead of the Blog Buddy program that started in September of 2018. So I thought for this episode I would just kind of have a smoke and just kind of sit back and tell you a little bit about me and my background and where I live and what my family life is like, my home life is like, and just kind of blah a little bit about who I am and why I do what I do. So for starters, it's my birthday tomorrow. Woo! I'll be 28 years old, so this is kind of a fitting blog episode for me to do right now. Just kind of reevaluate my life and, who I am, what I do. So, I live in Washington. The state of Washington, like the West Coast, not DC, like not a city kid. Washington State, the evergreen state, full of trees. Yes, it rains here a lot. I'm about an hour away from Seattle. Actually, more like an hour and a half now. I grew up in a city called Monroe, and I now live in Gold Bar, Gold Bar is like a far out. I've been in kind of the valley of the mountains my whole life. But Gold Bar is a little out there in the boonies. So it's like a 30-minute drive from Monroe, and that means 30 minutes from life. On the flip side, though, the cool thing is I am closer to the mountains, so I don't have to go far at all to get to snow or to camping or anything like that. So I'm good with this. Monroe, where I've mostly lived my whole life, is not a big city. It started as a town, but it's kind of like everywhere. It's been growing and growing and growing. So it's now, I would call Monroe a city now. It's just, I don't know, set up in a triangle. There's the big highway to the mountains that I now live in that goes right through it, and the highway keeps going into the bigger cities like Seattle and Everett and those nearby of King County. So with that being said, like there's like this big storefront that goes along the highway, but on the outskirts is pretty low to mid class. It's not high up. There's no skyscrapers or anything like that. So I'm not like a city kid. I didn't grow up like tromping Seattle streets every day or nothing. I grew up like going hiking and stuff with my dad on the weekends and whatnot. Which brings up that my parents, like a lot of my generation, got divorced when I was 10 years old. And I grew up kind of a daddy's girl. I have two younger sisters. Kind of the troublemaker of the three of us. And the oldest. So when my parents got divorced, I think we all took it hard. Obviously, it was divorce, but my mom and myself and my two other sisters moved down to Southern California. I hated it. Long story short, I ended up moving back with my dad when I was 13. So I've been back to Washington, living here since I was 13, so I only spent 2 years in California, which meant that all through my middle school, high school years, I was flying back and forth from Washington to California. So I'm pretty well traveled. I've been on way more planes than I could possibly count. Way more road trips than I could possibly count. Going back and forth between them. In high school, I wasn't the best student. I'll just be straight. Like, I have too big of a heart. So I had a ton of friends and I always preferred to help my friends than focus on school. So I'm not dumb by any means, but I didn't really learn much from high school. I learned the bare minimum. My senior year, I was 1 day away from Becca Bill. So 1 day away from going to court because I'd missed so much school. Not because of getting in trouble at school or getting expelled or anything, but just because of my lack of attendance and my lack of, like my dad doing anything about it, really. So I'd, like, quit everything my senior year, and I had quit smoking weed, quit getting in trouble, quit, like, fucking around, just said, fuck off, everybody, I'm actually going to graduate. Like, I didn't go through all this just to, like, go to court instead. Like, I'm so close. So I had to take that whole year, like, off from everything and stop. And so when I met Bowden, I had gone through high school pretty much with the same guy, almost, like, the whole time. And it was definitely in long-term relationships versus one that, like, hopped around. So, I was, like, on a break with him even, and my other ex, and Bowden came around, and he was a street kid as well. I had the habit of picking up street kids and making long-term relationships of them. So when Bowden came around, super cute, I felt pretty hard, and what was even crazier is that he fell for me as a traveling kid. He was not trying to settle down, like, at all. He was trying to go out and have fun and be crazy. So he kind of accidentally fell in love with me. So yeah, that's kind of the scoop there. As far as work goes, since I was such a, like, homebody, what I did for like hobby is sit and be on the internet, and I was a live journal junkie. Yeah, so I just, like, journaled a lot. I was kind of messed up from the divorce for a while, so I selfed myself out of that. I don't know. I turned into a self-learner, I realized very quickly. The year that I graduated was the year that Pinterest came out. So I fell in love with Pinterest, and I learned a whole bunch about stuff that I was interested in, and I used it like crazy, and I Google searched like crazy, mostly about web design and stuff, because when I was about 13, when I came to live with my dad, we lived for a while with my grandparents who ran a stay-at-home carpet cleaning business. So I started helping Grandma do paperwork and, like, answer phones and stuff occasionally, and, like, started helping her, and quickly realized that their marketing was, like, on a downhill because the whole world was getting online and they were sitting at home with their paperwork. So slowly but surely over the years, I helped them build a website, get paperless. I ended up taking over a lot of Grandma's stuff to help her out, and even when I didn't live there, I would go back and work there. Didn't make much at all. At all, but that's really the only job experience that I had, was working in this super small at-home business. So for, that whole time I was kind of blogging, kind of journaling, and that's why I've taken down and hidden myself and, like, deleted a lot of stuff, and the stuff that you will find is going to be super old and private is just because I didn't do anything with it because I wasn't serious enough about it. It was very much teenage, young, figuring myself out online. So I don't have anything to, like, show for any of my experience because it was all very much self-learning, personal stuff. So, but there was some business, training that went in from my grandparents as well, about, running a small at-home business. When I got a little bit older, and a little bit more out on my own, and I was with Bowden, we were really trying to get our shit together. At one point, I got a job at Wave Cable and started training for customer service, and quickly moved into the retention department for a month-to-month service. So basically, you had to talk to my happy self to cancel your service. Like, why would you want to do that? Why would you want to cancel this amazing service? It's month-to-month, da-da-da. Like, I just got it down. I did really, really well at it, and so I learned a lot more about actually working in a company, in a corporate company, and all the time management. Like, they watch you like a hawk. Your stats are everything. That's how you get paid and everything. So I learned a lot about time management and detailed task and stuff, which I was not good at that point. So that's kind of a little bit about me. Where the photography comes in is my dad. We went to kind of bond, and I think in an attempt to keep me out of trouble a lot of the times, we got into biking and hiking and taking photos, and so that's where that came in. So I'm really a nature photographer, and I tried at one point around the same time as, like, when I stepped out of my grandparents' business. It came time, my grandpa passed away, and it was just my grandma, and it was just time for her to sell. They offered it to me at barely 21 years old, and I stewed on it for a couple of months. At that point, I was basically running it. It was just one truck, one technician. I was like, dude, I'm 21. I haven't even worked any other jobs before. Like, I have no passion for carpet cleaning, like, at all. like not what I want to do. Like I want to own a business. It made me realize that like I want to own a business. I like working from home. I like the home office feel. I just at that time, was out. No, and I just said no. So they sold, and it's still chaos. Poor grandma, who I'm very close to. It sucks. She's got nothing. But in fact, the truck was abandoned, and it's sitting in my dad's driveway right now. I was like, I'm 28. That was 7 years ago. And the truck was abandoned, and it never got changed out of their name. So it's now sitting currently right now in my dad's truck. It's so messed up. So I could start a carpet cleaning business right now if I wanted to, guys. I'm not gonna do that. So, anyways, so I hope that kind of fills you in a little bit. I didn't talk at all about my street life or traveling or like the gap from 21 to 28 for a reason. So can't give away all my secrets at once, But there's a little bit about me. I don't know if it explains anything. Probably not. It's just, I don't know. It's just a vlog episode. There'll be another one too soon. But for my birthday, I am gonna go up the mountains, the other mountains, not these mountains, the other ones in Olympia Mountains. I'm gonna go away from these mountains for like 2 hours away to go to a different set of mountains, and spend an overnight at the Great Wolf Lodge with my husband for his company party thing that they do every year. I didn't go last year because I was huge with a baby in my belly and did not want to pop in a mountain. So we stayed home. But yeah, so that's what I'm doing. So I probably, I'm just going to schedule this out and be back to work on Saturday. So I don't know if I'll get in another one of these to post while I'm gone or not. Maybe I'll introduce the hubby in the next episode while we're at the lodge. I don't know. Anyways, have a good one. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe. I really appreciate your support, and talk to you soon.